So Jeremy, what could you buy for $100 a month, or say $75 US?
$75 US. What's that, about 20 coffees?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't drink coffee. It's about a sixth of a surfboard.
What if you could change the life, not just of one child, but of a whole family?
Yeah.
For that.
For $100 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Far out. That would be pretty awesome. Yeah.
And change the future of a child.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in.
All right. So that's what we're talking about today.
Alrighty. So it's Monday night. We are still in Ecuador. Trying to speak Spanish badly. Very badly.
We haven't learned any more since the last time we spoke to you.
I speak Spanish muy
Muchas
bueno.
gracias.
Muy bueno. No, it's we're having a great time here. But we are coming to you live from Ecuador. Well, semi-live. We're recorded, but we're live. But anyway, you get the idea. Just roll the music because it's time for Let's Talk About.
Yo, I don't think we should talk about this.
I think we should talk about
People
this.
might misunderstand what we
Hey,
trying
listen,
to say.
I'll quickly show you the. Do you like my t-shirt?
I've got one too.
Oh, here we go. What are we talking about?
Let's talk about the Young Living Academy.
Which was just one of the best days that we have had.
It has been the best 2 days of this trip.
Let's talk about Young Living Academy.
The Young Living Academy.
So we are talking about the Young Living Academy. Officially it's the D. Gary Young Living Academy, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it's the school that Gary started.
Yeah. And how Gary even came to start this was that he was down here in Ecuador building the Finca Botanical farm that we talked about last week.
Yep.
And when he first started, building it, they were staying in Guayaquil and traveling out. But even when he had to go out and buy supplies and things like that, he kept driving past this old school.
Well, he didn't know it was a school, did
No,
he? He thought it was a toilet block
Run
originally.
down building, right? We'll show you photos of it.
Yeah.
And he thought, what's that? And anyway, he asked his farm workers and they said, that's the Chongong school. That's where the school that the kids go to. And Gary was like, children can't go there. That's just terrible. And so many of the farm workers' kids went to that school, and he thought, we have to do something about this. So that's where the idea for the foundation came from. The Young Living Academy was actually the first project of the Young Living Foundation. The idea was to build a school that the farm workers and the local children in the area and the community could go to. And so I think it started off with, I think it was 60 children, and now it's
In the
up to
academy,
320, 330 children now go to this particular school. So I've heard about the academy for years, but it was just one of those things that was, I don't know, I thought only diamond leaders do this. It was, mentioned every year at convention that you should, sponsor a child, about the Young Living Foundation.
It's a nice idea.
Yeah, it was a nice idea. And it wasn't until Kylie Bryant, a diamond in Australia, actually came over here for Platinum Retreat, and I saw all her heartwarming, moving posts about meeting her sponsor child, Laura, who we actually got to meet. Actually, it's going to make me teary.
She was our guide when she took us around the academy.
Yeah,
and she was such a beautiful young woman.
Yeah, we spent all day with her, and so Kylie talked about what the experience was like for her, and I was like, I'm going to do this. I am so going to sponsor a child. And as soon as we were getting close to Platinum, I was like, yes, I'm going to sponsor a child, because when I come over here for Platinum Retreat, I'm going to jump on and meet my sponsor child and have the same experience that Kylie had. So at first we had to go on a little bit of a waiting list because there are only so many students in the school, and a lot of them are sponsored, and Young Living does want to expand, so every year the school is getting bigger and they're taking on more students and things like that. So they just, while we were over here, opened up I think another 30 places or something like that for people to sponsor. So, but sometimes you may have to go on a waiting list if you do want to sponsor a child. So when we hopped off the bus on our first day on Platinum Retreat, they bussed us all there, and they made us all, like there was like 4 buses loads of us, and we all waited outside the academy, and they opened the doors, and there was this like guard of honor. So a guard of honor with us walking up and high-fiving all the kids, and there was all the older kids. They were so excited, and if you had a sponsored child, you walked through the guard of honor and to the right, and there was our little girl.
She was holding this.
Yeah. And it was, you should talk.
It was very moving. Oh gosh, you'll crack me up now.
She held this sign, and she gave us the biggest hug.
Yeah.
And she doesn't speak great English, but she speaks pretty good English, and her name's Kimberlyn. And anyway, she was holding our hands and hugging us, and we went in and we sat down, and there was a performance by the kids at the school, and Mary spoke, and they welcomed us to the academy. Anyway, then they divided us up into groups, and this is where we met Laura, Kylie Bryant's and Glenn Bryant's, they sponsored 2 kids at the academy, and she took us around, and we got to see all of these little stations, because the kids wanted to show us that what our donations go towards, like what a difference it makes in the school. And when Gary first started this school, he developed with the sort of principal at the time the criteria, and he wanted it to be environmentally friendly and for the kids to learn about sustainability and all the practices that Young Living believes in, so service and giving back, and that's what all the stations were about. So we saw greenhouses built out of recycled plastic bottles. Like the kids are encouraged to come to school, bring their plastic water bottles, their plastic soft drink bottles, all that kind of stuff, and they built a greenhouse for them to put the
from a teaching perspective, it was awesome. Their focus is on learning by doing, and so all of these and they weren't all just part of the classroom curriculum. They also have these groups, and I guess you were talking about that, but all these special interest groups, all with this focus on sustainability. So everything's recycled. It's not like you're walking into a school and everything's new. They're making use of what they've got all the time. But it was very cool. So talk us through some of the. So we had the greenhouses, and these are designs that they came up with themselves.
Yeah.
Built them themselves.
They learn about recycling plastic and how there's all these too much plastic in the world, and what can they do to recycle it. So the greenhouse was their own idea. The older students are studying chemistry, and of course they learn about the chemistry of essential oils. Oh, we didn't bring it down, the insect spray. I told Jeremy to grab the insect spray.
Sorry.
So they learned to make their own insect sprays. They all natural. They made peach jam with peppermint oil in it. So
delicious.
Yummy. I'm going home to make peach jam with, mango jam it was. Mango jam with peppermint oil in it. They learn physics, they learn robotics. The sister of Kimberlyn, Pauline, she made this robotic, like it looks like Wall-E from the movie Wall-E, but they'd called it Gary. So it was really a play on words, but it was really cute, and it looks like Wall-E and all that kind of stuff. We got to play human chess with the kids, so they set up this big chessboard, and they were teaching them how to play chess, and we got to move the kids around to the various things. They've even got their own Young Living Experience Centre. So instead of a cubby house, they've got a Young Living Experience Centre, and the little kids get to go, and they're empty bottles as well, but they get to smell them, and it's kind of like going to an experience centre. We had this cute little video that we'll share with you guys. It was one of the prep or kindergarten kids sharing about how essential oils are produced. It was so cute, wasn't it?
This is how a young essential oil is created. Step 1, harvest. Step 2, distillate. Step 3, demo el bolo. Step 4, sello.
Awesome, thank you. Oh, that's so good. They did performances. Kimberlyn, our little girl, was in a performance about how Chongong got to be. The Spaniards came in, and the people of Chongong used to worship a monkey, and so they have this monkey in the town centre that apparently you have to kiss, and before you can leave town. We managed to get out of town without having to kiss the monkey, but the Spanish came in, and they wanted the Spaniards they wanted the Chongong people to convert to is it Christianity?
Yeah.
I guess it's Christianity. And so they wanted them to worship their God, and so they put up pictures of, I think it was Jesus, but the Chongong people kept like worshipping the monkey, and so they did this whole performance and dance routine around this. There was one about how Guayaquil came to be called it because it was two people, Wire and Kiel, and they were,
star-crossed lovers.
Yeah, love it. It's like a Romeo and Juliet story.
It was very similar, wasn't it? They both died in the end.
Yeah.
Celebration, yay.
Jeremy loved the performance of the recycled instruments and the recycled performers. Wasn't that?
Yep.
There were cooking classes. Oh, we didn't bring down the cookbook either. We were going to show you the cookbook. We bought their cookbook. A lot of the activities throughout the day were fundraising activities for the foundation. The kids had made things like Christmas decorations and Christmas cards that you could buy. Our shirts that we showed you before. The kids designed these particular designs, and then they were screen printing them throughout the day, and you could buy them. So, like they say, Young Living and the academy on the side, and the kids' names who design them are actually put onto the design.
Sophia.
Yeah. They also have a mobile library, so on the weekends they use the school bus as a library, and they take books out, and the kids read and perform and do, what do you call those, puppet shows for the kids who don't go to the school, so that they are therefore exposed to good literacy, and they do it as a service project because they're teaching these kids the importance of giving back and having a purposeful life, like exactly what Young Living's all about. Some of the older kids, they teach the little kids in town that don't go to the school English, and we got to participate in some of
An English class,
an English class, and seeing how they do that.
It's just to go back on that point, part of it is just taking what you've got and leveraging it to do something amazing with it. And I think that was one of the things that I loved, is that idea that, because they also open the school in the evenings for the parents of the kids to come in and learn English. So, there's this constant idea of taking this small thing but expanding it out. Whether it's, see, it makes me teary, but teaching the parents English, or the kids who've learnt English and learning stuff, taking it out and reading to the kids in their local town who aren't getting that. So it's just, constant great use of resources, great use of people, all the time, just expanding that influence out into the community, which is fantastic.
They even make kombucha. They teach the kids how to make kombucha, so Jeremy got to try that. They have an organic garden with vermiculture, so they're teaching the kids right from the word go about the importance of recycling their compost and feeding the worms. All these kids could get jobs on the farm because they've learned all about the great, how to grow plants and the importance of the plants, and it's so words cannot put into, like, there's just no words that could express how amazing this experience was. Like, to see all of the things in one day that these kids do. Like, they're even learning about different energy sources. So they experimented, because rather than running on power at the school, they're looking at more environmentally friendly. So they had wind and solar. They had kids designing a grandstand so that their parents could come along and watch the sport. I don't know, there was...
Not get fried in the sun.
Yeah. In the afternoon, we got to participate in a service project.
Yeah. We built a wall.
Like Trump's wall.
I was going to say, some people promised to build walls. Well, we actually built a bloody wall. No, it was... to close in their dining area. So they've redone their dining area to make it better and safer. So we had the opportunity, the privilege of helping to put some bricks together and build a wall for them. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
Although, as I said, I think we walked away. I certainly walked away and felt like, I had contributed about this much and taken away, this much. We certainly received much more than we gave, and I think that's even the case with the sponsorship, isn't it? And we're going to talk about that now. A visit with Kimberlyn and
well,
her family.
There were a couple of other things I just wanted to touch on with the school. One was that there are diffusers in every single classroom. So Sharon Blackwell, I'm sure you'll appreciate that. We took photos. There are diffusers in every classroom. They are living the Young Living life, right? everything about it. It's all embedded into every part of the classroom, even their sports team. So like when I was at school, we were Gordon, Patterson, Lawson, you know, we were all named after poets. And I think in high school, you know, like you get named after different things. At this school, the schoolhouses are Panaway, lavender, lemon and peppermint. Like, I mean, how cool is that? So we took photos of their cute little shirts. They were adorable. Like, you know, it's just so embodied. Like, I'd love to send my girls here. The philosophy of the school is just amazing, and to get to meet the kids, like as I said, not only Kimberlin that we sponsor, but Laura that Kylie sponsors. We met Joseph that Kim Ellis sponsors, and we took gifts for them that they sent along with us, and the kids were so grateful. You have no idea what the gifts mean to these kids. Like, yeah, they truly feel so blessed to be sponsored. Like, we got this letter, which was just going to blow away, in our room the night before, and it says, "I feel so happy to finally meet you in person. I hope that you arrive safely. Can't wait for you to meet my family." This was the night before we visited Kimberlin's family. "I hope you have the best time since it's your first time here. Kisses, Kimberlin." So, you know, there's just all the added little touches and the sign. So then we went to Kimberlin's house. So do you want to talk about how we got there? Because I'm doing all the talking.
So we drove out there in these little, what are they called?
Moto taxis.
Moto taxis. It's like tuk-tuks in other places, but yeah, we're in the moto taxi. We're bouncing around through the streets of Chongon. We actually got lost. Our driver took us to the wrong house. That was kind of funny to start with, but eventually we rocked up to Kimberlin's house. And it was just a very humble little house in a, you know, kind of very humble street. And we didn't know what to expect. In fact, our translator, Carlos, was saying, "Look, don't worry if sometimes they're very shy, they might not talk. I'll kind of warm them up for you, and, you know, eventually, you know, it'll be fine." Anyway, we get there at the front gate, and there's Kimberlin waving to us. We walk in the front gate, there's Mum, and Kimberlin has two sisters, Paulini, who's the older one, and Scarlett, who's the younger.
Scarlett's in like prep, like, you know,
such a
she's
cutie.
5.
And the family came out, and it was right from the word go. They were so happy to see us, and, you know, we're just teary, and it was beautiful.
I don't think I've cried so much as I did those 2 days. Like,
Yeah.
because the mum, every time she hugged me, you
Yeah.
could feel how grateful she was. Like, it was like one mum to another. Like, if anything ever happened to my girls, and people, you know, and I couldn't afford to send them, like, even in Australia, we just don't have an idea about, like, I asked them what difference it made, and they said they've only lived in Chongon for 5 years, and so the girls have gone there for 5 years to this school, and the mum just told me that, you know, it made a huge difference. Like, maybe Pauline, she's the older one, like, she'd probably be in year 10, so maybe she wouldn't even be at school if it wasn't for the academy.
Yeah.
They might have to send her out to work, to get a job, and because everybody here is poor, and I mean, we sit at breakfast and we watch kids walking through the lines of cars that stop at the traffic lights outside of our hotel where we sit and eat breakfast, and they're selling bottles of water, they're selling fruit, they're selling whatever they can, like, and little kids, like,
It's like little kids holding their even younger siblings,
walking through the traffic, like, to sell stuff, to make a living. And so the fact that we can help with our small gift that comes out of our commission, we don't see it, like, it comes straight out of our commission every month before we get paid from Young Living, and goes to support this family to attend school. The 3 girls all attend the school. You know, it makes such a difference. Even though our 3 girls are all sponsored, they haven't met any of their other sponsors yet, so we were the first to go and visit them. Their dad was really quiet, but you could tell that he was grateful as well. He's a carpenter.
Yeah.
And, well, first off, we get there and I asked, "Oh, what does your dad do, Kimberlin?" And And she said that he was a carpenter and he built the chairs and tables that we were sitting on. So we're sitting on a long bench seat and a long table. Beautiful table that he's handmade, and there were all these little stools around that he made as well. So he just works when people have work for him. So like he might go around and fix timber things and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know how much work he gets. Their house is very humble, probably 2 bedrooms, one for the parents and one for the girls. We didn't go inside. We didn't feel like it was our place. So we sat outside on the veranda. It was similar to coming to my house. When people come to my house, we sit on the veranda. So I felt right at home. But when we left...
And often we don't want people to come inside because, it's a mess.
Well, the girls' room certainly is. But they gave us this beautiful chopping board. I hope we can get it back into Australia. But they the dad carved it into a love heart and gave it to us. And we just, our hearts were overflowing. Like, you can't begin, like, without being here and seeing the poverty that we have seen, and like just the rubbish on the streets. It is a third world country over here, and to be able to support these girls, this family, we took them gifts, but what can you give? We're grateful to you guys that donated, Sue, Kim, the guys that gave us stuff to bring over. That was truly so appreciated. Colouring in books, pencils, whatever you gave, anyway, I've talked enough. You get the idea. But if you've been thinking about sponsoring a child, you don't have to wait till you get to platinum, you don't have to wait till you get to diamond. You can do it at any time if this is something that you want to get involved with. If you don't want to sponsor a child, or you don't want to be on the waiting list and you want to get involved now, there are many other projects.
Give to the foundation.
That the foundation does. You can go on service trips. You can even come over here on a service trip. I think there's one in the next month or so over here, where once again they're going to go back to the school. They even build bedrooms and kitchens on the houses of families who go to the schools. That's another service project that you can do. You can go to Uganda and get the jiggers out of kids' feet. You can do Soul Hope, which is making the shoes, and that's certainly something you can get involved in as part of Symposium this year. You can make some of the shoes. There's so many amazing projects that the foundation's involved in. The child slavery projects, child prostitution stuff in Cambodia. There's whatever. Go on the foundation's website, find a project that resonates with your heart, and jump on board.
Yeah. So. One of the things that we had the privilege of spending time with Greg Larson, who's been heading up the foundation for the last how many years? A lot.
3 years. Maybe.
Yeah, and he made the comment that. One of the great things about Ecuador is this is where you kind of can see you can see Young Living in its entirety. So you've got the farm, and then so close by you've got the academy, and which really is like the beating heart of Young Living. And when you see how Mary talks about the academy, and she spoke while we were there, and it's just so close to her heart. And obviously it was so close to Gary's. It was a beautiful thing. And it just, I guess for me, it just reinforces again just the nature of the company and why it's so good to be part of this whole thing. It's got integrity and it's got a beating, compassionate heart. I just love the fact that Gary couldn't drive past that old school without actually having to do something about it. So.
And Mary Young says that money in the hands of good people does good things, and that is a perfect example of the academy. If you've been thinking, I don't want to share because I don't want people to think I'm going to make money off them or whatever, donate your money to the foundation. Get out there, share with other people, because when you make money, you can do good things, and that is truly what the foundation is doing. Young Living pays all of the administrative costs for the foundation, so it's not like your only 10 cents in your dollar is going to these kids. Your whole amount is going to these kids, okay? Because Young Living, Mary and Gary, they pay the administration expenses for the foundation, which is another great reason. This company is truly amazing. I couldn't be more proud to to be a part of this company, and I want to see each of you get to experience what we have experienced this week. And I couldn't, you've got to get out there and do this, okay? Because this changes your life, and being here this week has changed my life. So I want to see that experience for you guys. Anyway.
Alrighty, cool. If you have any doubts, if you have any questions, man, I guess that's the message from us, isn't it? We've been here, we've seen it, we've talked to the people, we've spent time with the leadership. We just couldn't be more, couldn't recommend it highly enough.
Till next week, we'll be back home in Australia.
We don't normally cry in these things, but it has been so moving.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing you guys. We'll see you next week. We will be back in Oz, which will be good, and I guess it'll be sad too to say goodbye to Ecuador.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.